All right. What up? What up? What up? Peace, love, and blessings, everyone. It's your Blackest STEM podcast, the STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent in Black culture with your resident STEM gents, brilliant engineer, and Tariq Cardiac. On tonight's episode, we have our dear sister, author, publisher, educator, and so much more, CEO of Monarch Publishing LLC, Sister Danielle, talking about robotics and the youth who will build them. Tune in for more after this intro. Let's get it, family. Praise be to Allah. I never, ever, ever get tired of that intro.
Ever.
Family, again, welcome back to another edition of the STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent in Black culture, where we highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, and yes, mathematics. We are your humble co-host. I am Jabril Muhammad, aka Jabrilliant Engineer. I am a civilian mechanical engineer focusing on naval ship fluid systems. Also, the co-owner and director of engineering of our parent company, Original Man Scientific. And I have a background in material science and engineering, the study of the various material classes and how they can impact our world when properly used. Joined by my more illustrious and always wonderful human being, our bro Tariq Cardiac. What's going on, bro?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Once again, family, welcome back to the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. My name is Brother Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. I'm the chief operating officer and the other co-owner of Original Man Scientific. I have a background in I'm a biomedical research scientist with a background in cardiovascular pathobiology, which is the study of how diseases form in the heart and blood vessels. I'm excited for tonight's show. I'm gonna let my brother lead the way because it's engineering related. So go ahead, family.
Yes, sir. I bet y'all ain't know we was doing tongue twisters tonight too, huh?
Right. I said it all the time, and I messed up this time.
It happens to the best of us, man, and you're one of the
sir.
best. Praise be to Allah. Family, as we always say, we can run our mouth all day, but the show is not about us. It's about the wonderful talent and inspiring individuals we bring on the platform to give you a dose of what they do on a daily and how they are, establishing their footprint on science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So without further ado, we want to present to all who are watching our beautiful sister, Danielle, who's going to go into more about who she is as we bring her on. How you doing, Queen?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I'm fine by Allah's grace. I am very excited to be here and to share what I have experienced in my scientific journey, in my Islamic journey with you all. I am an elementary school teacher. I am an author, a publisher. I also am an artist. So I have a lot of different variety under my belt, I will say.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So praise be to our family. Before we go any further, remember, we are live right now. Facebook, the STEM Files, and also YouTube, the STEM Files. Follow us at Tariq Cardiac and at Jabrillion_engineer on Instagram, at the STEM Files on Instagram and Twitter, the STEM Files on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure to like, comment, and share. We got to work that algorithm, family. Make sure that everybody knows what's going on here at the STEM Files as we proceed. So we're going to get right into some questions. You started mentioning a bit about your background, sis, and as we move to the crux of this conversation today, we just want to hear about more where you come from, when did you first get involved in or interested in STEM, and how has that helped propel you to where you are today?
Okay. So both of my parents are in the science field. My mom is actually a scientist, and my father is a mechanical engineer. He was. And I have grown up around scientists my entire life. All my mom's friends were scientists. One of her best friends is a rocket scientist. So I've been in that field, though I never thought I would actually work in that field. But I've always been around very inquisitive minds, and in that, it's taken me into a new field. So I'll say, when I was younger, the way that my father would teach me was that he would always ask me questions. Even when I asked him a question, he would ask me a question, and it would force me to do more research. And so he was feeding the scientist within me. So I kind of always had that inquisitive nature to always find out about things and research and whatnot. And so it went from there, and then I went to art school. Um, and from art school, I started to teach art at Muhammad University of Islam. And I just started out simply as an art teacher, and then it went from art to history to science. And once I got into the science field, that's when um, my childhood came into play. And I remembered things that I had learned and how my father taught me. And um, it just blossomed from there. Mhm.
Praise be to Allah. Praise be
Beautiful,
to
beautiful.
Allah. I love the shout out because we wouldn't be here, right? And we would be remiss if we didn't shout out both our STEM family and our STEAM family. Even though me and Brother Tariq have had this conversation where we feel like art is a science in of itself, the understanding of
Right.
color, blends, and how to construct something that's aesthetically pleasing to the eye and really engage a specific part of the mind. There's all types of science all up and through our art family. So we want to definitely remember that. And as you were talking, I always tell people that when I'm having a conversation is that to be a scientist is not necessarily or not only to engage in the hardcore sciences, if you will, and be at a lab bench or dissecting something or wear a certain coat or look under a microscope. Being a scientist is also a mindset. It's the way you apply yourself toward an end goal, the way you look at reality. And as you were talking about your relationship with your father, I got that as well, that he was really impressing upon you the scientific mind to be able to meet and overcome all obstacles in your path. So that was beautiful. Over to you, bro.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I echo the words of my brother. It's important that we understand how science is both communicated and understood by our people. Because, like you said, it's more than just tinkering in the lab and fixing rocket ships and whatnot. Science is a legit way of understanding things. So we have to remember that and understand that. But I wanted to talk about, you know, your STEM roots. I want to
Mhm.
talk more about your parents. When we marketed this program, we called you the daughter of STEM brilliance. So we
Mhm.
want to know what were some of the things your parents did to instill the importance of obtaining knowledge in you at an early age,
Mhm. Okay.
or instead
So,
not obtaining, instilling. Excuse me.
mhm, mhm. Well, it was very important for my mother to have education was very important for her because how she grew up, she wasn't able to have it. Good education. And so she made sure that we were in very, very good schools. I've pretty much been in private school my whole life. And in that, I was given an opportunity to be a part of several different programs, not all science based, but if we're going to talk about science, um, where STEM is concerned, I really took on the mathematic part of STEM because the M in STEM stands for mathematics. And so I did a lot of different courses with mathematics, not so much with um, not so much with the engineering aspect, but more so with math and science. My father, along with being a mechanical engineer, he used to build the airplane engines. He was also a carpenter, and he was a chef. And so he really drove the math side of my education. So I think just for to not get, let me ask you a question. What you're asking me, are you asking me for maybe specifics, like examples as far as what they did exactly?
Yes, ma'am. Like just some examples, like any types of programs, any types of teaching methods, anything like that.
Okay, well, I did something called Mesa. Are you familiar with Mesa? Either of you?
Mm,
It sounds vaguely
yeah,
familiar,
sounds very
but
familiar.
I don't want to speak on it. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
It's kind of like, it's like a Montessori program where they really do teach you the art, the math, and the science, and they make sure that they incorporate everything. So, for instance, if I was doing a science experiment, we would be working on how color affects the senses, how color attracts, and then you'd have the math to go with it, and you have the science to go with it. So we did much of that. I went to art school in San Francisco. I went to the Academy of Art, and in that I did furniture, interior design, furniture design, and fashion design. And in that you have the art aspect. Art has always played a part in my life. But with design, you have a lot of mathematics, and there has to be not just mathematics, but a science to things that you build. And so that's another aspect of science and art in my education.
Excellent,
Praise be
excellent.
to Allah. Praise be
Great,
to
great. So I actually want to get into the meat of the show, what we're all here for, and that's, robotics. And I thought when you first came to us with this idea, I thought it was really interesting to hear um, someone want to in, someone want to use robotics for
Mhm,
sustainability.
mhm,
Now,
mhm,
before we get into that, I want to play a video by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to kind of set the tone of
mhm.
what this challenge or this competition is all about. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. That's fine.
Awesome, awesome. So let's check it out, family.
The producer of the film, when Brock told him that I was on the island, he wanted to meet me. So when I came to the set to meet him during their lunch break, he said these words to me. You seem like a nice guy, Farrakhan. It's not you that we fear. It's your ideas. Nothing is more powerful than an idea whose time has come. So if we have an idea that undercuts white supremacy, that undercuts a social, political, economic, religious system that has suppressed and oppressed the masses of dark people all over the world and white people themselves too, then that idea must be crushed. You can kill the man, but if his idea lives, he lives.
Mm.
So the reason I chose this particular clip is because the minister is absolutely correct. And I'm not saying I'm not any type of validation or anything like that, but I wanted to bring this up because the competition that you put together is about bringing ideas to life, and it's about bringing timely ideas to life. And when we're talking about sustainability, we're talking about keeping things going or sustaining something. So can you give us a brief definition of what sustainability is and why you chose robotics as the theme for the competition?
Okay. So to sustain something is to is to keep it in order, to be able to utilize something and and put it into use, recycling. But before there's something on my mind that I wanna say first, because I want to talk about where this came from, where this whole idea came from, because that's very important to me.
Yes, ma'am.
My son in November had in a competition, a game night, where it was called Battle of the Builders. And what he did was he used the game Minecraft, And each of the children who were part of the competition were to use that platform in creating a specific thing. They had a time limit, and at the end of it, they won a small prize and they got recognition. And it was very successful, and it was something that the children could do that was not unrighteous or didn't take their minds into a low vibrational place. It was something that inspired thought. They had to use their minds to think and be original. And it was very successful. I got a lot of great feedback. And more than that, for my son, it allowed him to take an idea that he had and see it through. And so he was able to do that. And to see him take something from out of his mind and to bring it to life and how it affected other people, I wanted to reproduce that. But on an even larger scale, because it got me thinking about, our brothers with the Hereafter Farms and what they're doing, how the great work that they're doing with acquiring land for our people. And with the acquiring of land, we're going to need workers soon and in the future. And I was thinking to myself, okay, well, the children are really they're the Joshua generation. They're really going to be the ones who are going to be upkeeping and sustaining the land and using the resources and putting it to use. And so I was like, okay, well, how do we find them? How do we find those who are going to be a part of this? How do we find the help that we need? And I was like, okay, so let's do a challenge. Let's see, let's give them something to do where we can find out who's interested. Utilize them for the future. And that's where this whole idea stemmed from, was that. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Real.
So, as you're talking, I'm looking at our dear brother from the Black Math Academy's question, what math is involved in your work with robotics, right? What we're really trying to do with this 2022 Sustainability Robotics Challenge is locate and then harvest the timely ideas from young people throughout our nation and potentially beyond, to be able to reaffirm in themselves that they have the ability and the support to do almost whatever it is that comes to mind, right? When we start to talk about, a robot or robotics and what that is, a quick search will have you to understand that a robot is a machine capable of carrying out a complex series of actions automatically, especially one programmable by a computer. What you start to think about is something that can assist with you automatically being able to sustain and extend your quality of life. So if you have not yet, for those watching, if you have not yet watched our last segment with our dear brother Farrakhan Muhammad Ali on coming together to build the hereafter, please do, because it gives a lot of context of what we're talking about today. So to leverage robotics to then make potentially non-producing land producible, or to make your quality of life in a separate land or territory of your own of a certain level or certain requisite level, is what this competition is all about. To see the talent and to let young people, our young challengers, know and understand that you are valued when it comes to the production of the hereafter, a separate land and territory or of your own that is ruled through the principles of freedom, justice, and equality. So thank you so much for what you shared just now. We have a beautiful comment from our dear brother Nuri Bracy. Is a colleague of mine. has actually done some work with our parent company as well. He said, love that piece about keeping the children occupied and away from low vibrational activities. Can't condemn the youth if we aren't providing alternative opportunities. And that is a beautiful, beautiful comment. Thanks so much, bro, for what you said. Wow.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So
let's get more into the nitty gritty of this competition. So we have the 2022 Sustainability Robotics Challenge. So for those of us watching and listening, and as they look to try to become involved, what is this competition? How do you become involved? What are its different components as we continue to move forward?
Okay, so I want to do that, but also, Brother Tariq, I didn't get to your question about sustainability.
Yes,
so, to sustain something is to be able to maintain it without completely destroying what it is that you're utilizing. So to be able to put it to use, but recycle, such as water, and that's a good example. There are a lot of different ways around the world that people have utilized different ways to clean water without totally, so being able to maintain something without destroying it completely and recycling. But as far as this challenge, okay, so it is the Sustainability Robotics Challenge. The first part of our competition is going to be a write-up where the children will they're going to figure out a real world problem. And by real world problem, it could be, let's use radiation as an example. Like my cell phone here. This cell phone, the computer that we're on, emits a lot of radiation. And so, I use this as an example because I was using it with a potential contestant. And I said, okay, well, how can you block radiation from, if you have a farm, how do you block the rays of radiation from hitting your crops and your harvest? And I said, they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, so are you going to settle on I don't know, or are you going to do some research and figure it out? Because it is there. You can't utilize it because it has been done on larger scales. But how can you do it in a different way? Or how can you do it in a way that is innovative and has not been seen before? So the first part is figuring out a problem. And you're going to, do the research and write that up in the problem. And then you're going to have to solve it. And not just something that you conjure up. I really want the children to think and do their research and figure out the problem. And by doing that, you study those who have already been in that field. I don't want them to feel insecure and be like, oh, this is too hard. I can't do it. We learn how to walk. We learn how to talk by example. You know what I mean? So you use that same principle as you're going into this project and figuring out how to solve your problem. So after you do that, then the children will have a digital presentation where they will show their work to the judges, and it won't be a physical model. So a good example of that, say that the child or the contestant decides that they want to work on cleaning soil. So you could, if you wanted to, you could make a game. You could a digital computer game. You could do like a kind of like what we're doing here, where you're sitting down and you're talking to someone and you're discussing your ideas, but something visual for us. You can really use your imagination and be as creative as you want to. It's not limited to anything. And that's the thing about it. Everything has boundaries, but we really want to see like where your mind takes you. And so whatever it is that you could think of within the guidelines, do it. So then after that, we are the three judges, Brother Jabril, Brother Tariq, and myself. We will be viewing, your write-up. We will be reviewing your digital presentation. And based off of that, we will choose the top 10. And they will go on to the next part of the competition where the contestants will actually make a physical model of their design. So, and again, because I had one child say, so I have to build this big old machine. Like, no.
I was going to ask you about that because, like, the first thing that most of our youth are going to think about when they see robotics is like some big, fancy artificial intelligence kind of, machine. So, yes, ma'am, please break that down for us.
Okay, so you can look at the field of architecture. When they make a model of a building, it's literally, you can fit it on a table, but it's still a working model of their design and their idea. So, and let's take it let's take it a step back. When architects work, they start with drawing. It's a drawing, it's measurements, it's math. And then it goes from here, and then it goes to paper, and then they build their 3D model. Then after the 3D model, if it works and they have the funding and all of that, then they build the bigger one. So you can use that principle, and please tell your children this. You can use that principle. They don't have to build a big working model. So I don't want them to get intimidated by that.
Yes. I had something I wanted to add, ask for context. So, we are all in, at least at this point, our late 20s and whatnot, but we want to give a context when we say children, right? And I know we use the term challenges as well. So what is the target audience in terms of the challengers that will be participating in this competition, for clarity for everyone?
Okay, so age range. And I'm happy that you asked that question, because we've had a lot of comments and questions about that. So the age range for the children, it will range between 13 and 18. And I want to, because I had a parent come to me and she said, well, I don't know if that is necessarily fair. And what we will do, or what we will do, is I'll post it on our social media, and you'll see where they have these competitions all over the world. They have STEM competitions all over the world, and you'll see younger children competing against older children. And just because the age is different, that doesn't mean that the older child will automatically win and qualify versus the younger child. And so I didn't want to put the gap too wide, but I didn't want to make it, we didn't want to make it so that, we just didn't want to make the gap too wide. So 13 to 18 is our age range.
Yes, man. Praise be to Allah. I just wanted to do that because I know, sometimes when we use certain vernacular and whatnot, it can be unclear. Well, okay, well, are we talking about super young children, older children? And I love the comment from our brother, Neil Bradley from the Black Math Academy. He was like, listen, man, let's encourage them to build a Starship Enterprise. Let's get it done. And what we find is a lot of times young people, the youth, have ideas that are that grand in scale, but may lack things like proper mentorship, know-how, equipment, access to, actual space to do things like that, right? So one of the things we discussed and we are looking for, if you or anyone that this is for people watching and listening to this, people who have experience in putting together, robotics models and mentoring in robotics competitions, we definitely want to hear from you, and we'll provide a way for you to reach out and provide that contact information, because we're going to assign or have those who participate be assigned to mentors who both have extensive robotics experience, but also are just maybe professionals in STEM that can ask and engage them in very specific ways. Similar to if you have been exposed to the first robotics challenge or first tech challenge or VEX robotics, a lot of times, you may have specific kits that are given out, but you also have mentors who can just help to guide and move them forward. So beautiful. You want to get into a couple of these questions, Tariq, as we move forward?
Yes, sir. So the first question we have, as a matter of fact, at this time, let's go ahead and take a short break. Let's go ahead and talk about the Final Call newspaper, Black-owned businesses. So at this time, we're going to play a video about what the Final Call entails. And then after that, we're going to go into our Black business highlight. Is that all right?
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
All right, let's go.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
All right, excellent. So Jabril, can you tell us what this week's what this week's edition of the Final Call is about?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Family. This is the flagship newspaper of your Nation of Islam, The Final Call, a message dedicated to the resurrection of the Black man and woman in America and the world. This latest issue is titled Women in Prison Suffering and Abuse Behind Bars, talking about the state of the women correction system, particularly in different prisons, and why we should know about it. Every Final Call newspaper, in addition to its article on the front, has a centerfold article by the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. This one is entitled Black Man Do for Self or Suffer the Consequences. I know that's something that we can all identify with today. You got toddlers making 6-7 figures on TikTok. You have people doing a lot of things in the metaverse, people leveraging their different trades and skills. So as a people today, there's so many resources for us to do for self. And that's not necessarily just going into business for ourselves, but helping to extend the business ideas of our brother or sister. So get your latest issue of the Final Call newspaper. You can get it digitally or in person. Go to finalcalldigital.com and secure your digital subscription. Also follow the Final Call newspaper on all platforms at Final Call Newspaper. Also, if you're in your local Philadelphia or Richmond area and want to get your physical copy from your dear brothers, Brother Jabril and Brother Tariq, definitely do that as well. The Final Call newspaper, family, your source of Black news you can use.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, beloved.
Yes,
all right, so now that we talked about the Final Call newspaper, can we also take some time to shout out some Black-owned businesses that we have, beloved?
Absolutely. Can y'all still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. Let's get into it. All right. This first business, Bedside Birthwork. We have our certified doula and prenatal yoga instructor, Kimberly Muhammad of Bedside Birthwork. She has an awesome pop-up virtual event coming up Saturday, January 29th at 1 p.m. It's a prenatal yoga and breathwork class for all our expecting mothers and just birthing individuals. You want to tap in, right? She's going to explore positions and breathwork to help ease tension, improve sleep, release anxiety, prepare for labor and birth. There are limited spots. You want to go and register and email bedsidebirthwork@gmail.com. That's bedsidebirthwork@gmail.com. I'm actually excited. My wife is actually signed up. I'm looking forward to seeing how she progresses through the class and move forward from there. So beautiful. Kimberly Muhammad, bedsidebirthwork@gmail.com for the prenatal yoga and breathwork virtual pop-up.
Excellent. What about the other one?
Absolutely. This is New Educational Paradigm Consultants, providing K-12 tutoring and academic support in language arts, writing, math, science, study skills, college planning, etc. For more information, you want to call 267-312-3808 or 267-271-8197. This is an awesome opportunity to get additional support, whether you're young or older, going back to school or what have you. I actually am a contractor and tutor for this company. I actually specialize in math tutoring, K-12, and definitely working on additional levels as well. So if you're interested, need some support, your child or brother, your cousin, or whatever, it's like, man, I could really use some additional information or additional support in these areas. Definitely go to New Educational Paradigm Consultants for your needs.
Excellent. Family, we on the STEM Files, we always make sure that we highlight as much Black content as possible, especially if it's stemming from members of the Nation of Islam. So this is a platform for you to showcase your business, your platform, and tell the world about what you do as a company. So don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have a business, anything like that, and you'd like to have it advertised on our program. So let's get back into these questions. This next one is from my father-in-law. Let me see here what we got. And it's actually a really good question. He asked, have the STEM files solicited the organizations or educational institutions in the United States to be a part of this competition to broaden the competition levels?
So us being the STEM files, you want to answer this question or should I, bro?
You can answer it, bro.
Well, I just start off and you can add. So thank you, Brother Herbert, for definitely asking this question. So on a large scale, we have not solicited very specific organizations or institutions, but we have gone out of our way to go within our network in the Ministry of Science and Technology for the Nation of Islam, as well as beginning to go to other colleagues in respect and various different STEM-related disciplines, obviously leveraging some people who have been alumni on our platform and their institutions or their businesses and whatnot. But definitely we have started to really reach out to people with specific expertise so they can assist us on a number of levels when it comes to this competition. So thank you absolutely for that question. Anything to add, bro?
No, you hit it right on the nail. And I appreciate the question too. Pops, you know, we definitely want to make sure that we incorporate as many organizations, as many institutions as possible to get this competition running. And Sister Danielle, would you like to add anything to that in terms of who we're partnering with or who you have on your side of things?
Okay. Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am. You're good to go.
Okay, because it's kind of breaking up. Can you repeat that question, because I got kicked off?
Yes, ma'am. Give me 1 second. So he asked, have the STEM files solicited the organizations or educational institutions in the United States to be a part of this competition to broaden the competition levels? So basically, you know, he wants to know what kind of organizations or institutions that we're partnering with to get this competition out to as many people as possible.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So this competition is offered internationally. It is not just for U.S. students. And though, you know, we really encourage our people to be a part of it, it is not exclusive to them. I have a few connections in Mexico and Serbia where they are also advertising for this competition. One of them, she has her own engineering company. The other one is a teacher, and so they're using their platforms to expand and put out the information there. And I know with Hereafter Farms, they have been advertising as well, and they have people from all over who have seen these our flyers and, you know, with the promotion. So that's how we're utilizing or how we're getting it out to more people. Oh, and Africa, in Nigeria, Ghana, and Rwanda.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So okay. I pray, Pops, that answers your question. Some of it at least. We doing our best we can as we move forward. Another beautiful question, actually, from Sister Tia to you. She asked, is Monarch a scientific publication? This is a question, obviously, for you, sis.
Okay. So a little history. I'm going to give you a brief history because I don't want to take up too much time.
Yeah, this is about you, Queen. Come on now.
I am writing a book, and it's called Sabir. And Sabir in Arabic means patience. It is one of the oft-repeated words in the Holy Quran. It is one of Allah's names, As-Sabir, and it is actually the 99th attribute. After all of them, it is patience. And I would think that to master all of those great qualities that he possesses, one would need to have patience to do so. So that word just did something to me. And the book that I started writing at the beginning of last year, I was actually at that point, I was living in a hotel, right? At the height of COVID. And and this book, this idea came to me after I was in deep prayer and meditation. And I can give you a little bit of the storyline, but it is about the journey of what it takes to become, for a caterpillar to become a butterfly. It is not so much a cutesy book, and there's nothing wrong with cutesy books for children, but it's not that kind of book. I remember the words of Mother Tynetta, may Allah be pleased with her, when she said that our sojourn here, our people in America, is much like that of a butterfly, because we do start off as this crawling creature, groveling, eating, just eating, eating, and then we die at one point spiritually, but we're resurrected with these teachings. And a
Right.
butterfly is a unique creature because it lives two different kind of lives. And
Mm.
literally, when it is in the chrysalis, which is the cocoon, it goes back into a clot. And from that clot, it is transformed, if it reaches success, into this new creature that has a completely different life. And I found that those words that she said, and she said the monarch specifically, but I found that that connection between us and this creature um, was very interesting to me. And when the minister told us July 4th in the criterion to go into our chambers, it reminded me of that of a butterfly or a caterpillar going into a chrysalis, the chamber. And it spoke to me. And so I'm writing this book and I want to publish it, but I'm like, I don't want to go to somebody that's going to take most of my money, because
Mm.
this is something that's very precious to me, and I don't want anyone. I want to be in control of how it goes out,
Yes.
the energy
Yes.
behind it, and I wanted to be in control. And so I said, I'm going to have my own publishing company. I didn't know anything about running a publishing company, but I said, I can do it. If I study, I can do it. If I put my mind to it, I can do it. So I began to study, and I felt comfortable with getting my LLC. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you name it? What are you going to name it, Danielle? And I was like, Monarch. It's
Mm.
Mm.
perfect and it's fitting, because even the process, like I said, I started out last year in a hotel. The process from then to now, the transformation that has gone on in my life is reminiscent of that. And it has a very deep meaning for me, the name Monarch, and the function of a monarch, and the life cycle of a monarch. And also, a monarch is a head of, you can have a royal monarch if
Yes.
we're taking it the creature. And but I didn't so much focus on that, but that there is another meaning to it. But yeah, monarch, that's where the name came from, sister.
Praise be to Allah.
Wow. Wow. Jabril, I know you got your mind is rolling right now especially from that last part she
Hmm.
said about wanting to control her content. So
Absolutely.
what's going on in your mind about that, bro?
So, so first things first. Beautiful, beautiful. So, just I guess a secondary question, and I kind of give some additional insights based on what you said. So, as you grow in publishing, if you had to explain or describe the types of publications that will come from this publishing company, right? Whether it be scientific or in another genre, what would that be? What are the types of publications that you're looking to produce under the name Monarch Publishing LLC?
Okay, great question. Great question. I'm happy you asked that. So I would like to keep all publications for the children. Um, I have discovered my purpose, um, and it involves the children. Um, Everything that I do uh, involves children. And so I want to give them literature that really speaks to their spirit, um, is not indecent, and teaches them very valuable lessons.
Mm,
I am an MGT in the Nation of Islam under the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad,
that's
and
right.
I want to give them the principles of Islam without necessarily saying certain words, without saying, Elijah or Farrakhan, but the principle and the story of us, I want to give that to them very young, so that when they're older, they already have that principle in their mind. And when they hear the teachings and when they read it, it's very easy. They understand, it's familiar, and they recognize it. So I seek to write books for our babies.
Absolutely beautiful. So what I gather as I'm listening to you, and you're talking about ownership, controlling the narrative, an empowering narrative, a high vibrational narrative, right? This is a universal publishing company that will seek to imbue with within the reader a thorough knowledge of self, time, enemy, God across all areas. So you may have a book that is STEM oriented, but in a way that when you read it, you never think that STEM is for somebody who's not you. You never think that STEM is something that you can't do or something Black people don't do. Well, we have to understand, and I think that Monarch will grow to allow not only our children or younger people, but as we progress, us to understand is that we have always been and are the fathers and mothers of STEM. STEM literally is the very foundation of reality. So without STEM, there is nothing. So that's what I see when you talk about Monarch and you move forward. So beautiful, beautiful. So go ahead.
I just want to add one more quick thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, there will be books that are fiction, but have the principle in it. But I also, inshallah, in the future, desire to make textbooks. For educational textbooks, workbooks, and all of that, which will involve science, which will involve math, reading comprehension. I will, of course, go to my brothers and my sisters for help and inspiration. It will be a collaborative effort, but I do desire, inshallah, to produce those science books, those STEM books. We can have a just straight up STEM book. So these are things that are I've put in my notes as things to go on into the future, but there are 2 books that I have to put out before I move forward with that.
Awesome.
Excellent. And that's key right there too. If you want to help others publish their works, you have to have something of your own as well to show them, what can be done. And Jabril, we talk about this all the time when we help our clients, with Original Man Scientific. We always talk about making sure that Original Man Scientific itself has what it needs to set an example for people of some type of level of encouragement to say, okay, they can do it for themselves. They can definitely do it for me. So we definitely see the vision in that. Jabril, you want to go into this question real quick from the Black Math Academy?
Yes, the one about the age of robotics.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So our dear brother, who is literally like a top fan, I have to call him a top fan of the STEM Files, the Black Math Academy, O'Neill Barnaby. He asked a question. So going back to robotics, with the coming age of robotics, what does the future look like for the employment side of labor? With the coming of age with robotics, what does the future look like for the employment side of labor? We can all tap in on this, I think, if we want, but absolutely go ahead, sis.
Sure.
Okay. Well, a large part, I think, right now is going to be in the digital world, the quote unquote metaverse. It might change, the naming of it might change. But I think a lot of technology and engineering is going to go onto this new platform. And this is a huge field where they're going to need, or there will be openings for pretty much anything that you can think of.
Right.
So I think going forward, that is going to be something that is huge. Of course, we are still in this material world, so we will need things in the material world to assist us as well. But lately, I've been thinking about this metaverse and what we can produce in this. They say big fields await the wide awake man. I know that is talking about here, but as we know, with all scripture and all teachings, there are so many different levels to a statement. And so you have this field, that we're in, and literally the one that we're talking in. So yeah, I believe that the digital world, the metaverse is going to be a large platform for that work. Mhm.
May I go in on that a little bit?
Yes,
Because
sir.
I think I
I
love
don't
what
think
you
anybody
said.
on here can stop you, bro.
No, but listen, I just want to continue to dovetail off what Sis said. So, because we're talking about robotics, right? We're talking about, automated entities that follow routine or less than routine actions to
Mhm.
kind of help make something easier, more progressive, what have you, right? So when you start to think about the future of employment, you're starting to really shift the paradigm. One of the things that I think we can all attest to when we talk about like having the requisite knowledge today. This world, or at least the old world, was a world that respects paper. I'm saying, what is the degree, certification, which it still does. But now we're in a world, especially when you talk about social media, that I want to know intrinsically and through demonstration, can you do the job? So as you're leveraging certain skill sets, automation, understanding of blockchain and cryptocurrency and content creation and, virtual and augmented reality, things like that, you have to really understand that you're going to always need someone who knows how to fix the progress. So no matter what new comes out and potentially what jobs you may think lose, someone's going to have to know the ins and outs of that new thing. So whether it's fixing it, setting it up, testing it. And also I saw our dear brother 19 Keys talk about something. He was talking about from a monetary perspective, but it's very real. You have people who are rejecting the entire concept of the metaverse because you're talking, you kind of had that concept of Ready Player One, or we're going to get so involved. I think we're at that point right now where some of us, we can't put our phones down. We're on social media all day. So it may get worse, but the ability to invest in land and nature retreats and have that balance is going to be key as we get more and more involved in this metaverse. So when I think about Hereafter Farms, I think about Brother Dr. Ben talking about leveraging and utilizing digital assets to procure physical assets. Like we do live in a very real world. I can't eat digital bean soup. You know what I'm saying? But I can leverage a digital product to acquire Navy beans and produce Navy beans so I can feed myself, my family, my nation. So that's the mindset, family, that this 2022 Sustainability Robotics Challenge is supposed to breed, is the ability to look within and to bring about change, bring about very real physical advancement with a certain end goal in mind. So, oh man.
Absolutely. For sure. And I wanted to add something real quick too. The whole point of the sustainability challenge is to create the type of world that we want to see, right? So when our young people participate, or our challengers participate in this competition, they're literally creating the world, or the type of world that may or may not be opposed to the world that they want to see, or that our open enemy is trying to bring about. We're not trying to not utilize anything that they have, but we want to build a society in the world for ourselves that if all of their technology was to just fade away, we can still live off of the technology that we produced. So that's why I love this competition, because we're building worlds. We're building a world on top of a world. And, inshallah, young people can really see the vision and the potential behind this, so that we can truly be what Allah intended us to be, and that's rulers of our world. So,
yes, sir.
I just wanted to add that to it, because I'm excited about this competition to see the type of energy and products that will eventually, help us live our lives.
I would like to add something too. This is even very new for me and us creating this sustainability challenge. I read a quote that said, the first one through the wall gets a little bloody. And what that means is, you're forging the way. And so I would like to ask all parents and anyone involved, to be patient with us
Absolutely.
as we go through this, because this is new for
Yes,
us
ma'am.
too. And with that, we've extended the registration, and the dates will be updated, inshallah, on Monday, which the date is, what date is it? Do either of you have a calendar?
I got you. Give me
Thank you.
1
What
second.
what day is Monday?
Well, it's the 31st.
31st,
Yep.
right?
31st.
So on the 31st, I'll have the updated dates for everything for the extension. So parents, please, or mentors, please go to our website hereaftermetafarms.com to look at the most current updates.
Absolutely. And for those who would like to get to that website, is if you, depending on how you're watching, it'll either be in the description in YouTube or in the caption on Facebook. So either way, you're definitely going to see hereaftermetafarms.com, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Just go ahead and tap into that, and all the information will be there.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So we're actually coming towards the end of the show, and we wanted to close out with a few remarks. Sister Danielle, we want first and foremost thank you for joining us tonight. Like we said before the show went live, it was going to go by quick, right?
Absolutely.
You did.
That's exactly what it did.
And it did.
So right. We want high vibration tonight. We talked about a lot of things, but I wanted to get your thought process on, the pandemic. I know you're not a scientist in that particular realm, but I wanted to see your vision or your thought process on how this competition would impact what we're going through with COVID. Do you see young people innovating things to help us deal with this pandemic?
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you say that. There was actually a STEM challenge in Singapore, and I will put this on our Instagram page for Hereafter Meta Farms, where there was a group of children in Singapore who actually developed this hand sanitizing contraption apparatus, and their government saw it and they used it and patented it, and now they're using it. And it was created, I think in 2020 at the height of COVID, when it was getting really, really bad. And so, yes, there are things that our children can do now that can help us battle with COVID, or things that happen because of COVID. So I would like to put that up for inspiration, because with this challenge, it's not just some science project that they're doing and then they go on about their business. They can create something now that will really affect our world now. Like, you don't have to wait until you're an adult to make a difference and make a change in the world. You can do it now. You can do it right now. So inshallah, I will get that on our Instagram page, because that was very inspirational. And I said, I do want the children to see this so that they can see that they can make a difference right now.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole goal of Original Man Scientific. When we started this company 6 years ago, we wanted young people to know that whatever research idea you had, whatever invention, innovation idea that you have, you can start working on that now. When I was doing research in high school, I didn't want to wait to medical school to develop something for blood clots and aneurysms and stuff like that. I wanted to do that stuff now. So that was the whole, that became the nucleus of what OMS is today. So it's important that our young people understand that knowledge is not something, it's not grade level guided. Knowledge is something that you can take at any stage in life. And then, of course, as you grow in age or in wisdom, so will your idea. You know, so
Mhm.
don't wait, do it now. I always say that to young people.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna throw out something for free to y'all real quick. Those who are looking to compete, looking to get registered, looking for an idea, right? We talk about sustainability. How many pounds and pounds of waste do we feel like have been created by surgical masks,
Come on.
N95 masks, cloth masks, right? At what point can we potentially design or put our minds together to have a mask that degrades, a mask that is able to be properly recycled and reused? These are some of the things that we could think about, because we want to protect ourselves. We also don't want to forget that we live on a planet that is also alive, and everything that we do has an impact, either positive or negative. So masks have been a big waste product over the past 2+ years due to this pandemic. So you could see something like this competition kind of feeding into a potential solution. So I think that's for free. That's for free for y'all right there. Just like that.
Excellent. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. And I'm sure there's a brilliant young person out there right now thinking about that same thing.
Right.
And hopefully they'll come across this program and get inspired to go even further with it. That's what we're all about. So, Sister Danielle, are there any last remarks or anything that you'd like to leave the audience with?
I have one idea. Brother Jarrell's giving out free games, so I'm gonna give one myself.
Come on.
You know, I'm gonna be light with it, but there are vending machines, right? There are vending machines that have all kind of beverages and snacks. But with COVID, our beloved minister said this is not going to go anywhere. I mean, eventually, yes, but I think that creating vending for PPE would be something that could potentially be lucrative, depending on where you would put it, such as a school. But I'm gonna leave that one there. But I thought that was interesting myself. So that's a little free game.
Come on now. Hey,
thank you.
Listen,
appreciate that.
Listen, the schools, shipyards, work sites, corporate America. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot you could do with that. But since you mentioned our beautiful minister, right, we would be remiss.
Oh my God! I forgot about that.
You were supposed to flow with me, Tariq. We wasn't even going to talk about it.
I'm sorry, bro. Go ahead.
We would be remiss as believers in Nation of Islam, remiss as a beautiful podcast if we did not talk about the crowning event of Black History Month. All right, this is Savior's Day 2022. Our beloved brother, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the national representative of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, is delivering a message, Savior's Day, that's February 27th at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, entitled The Swan Song. Now, there have been a lot of people who have posted definitions and things about the Swan Song and had speculations. What does this mean? What does this not mean? So as you can see, right, the Swan Song is a noun, a person's final public performance or professional activity before retirement. Now, one of the things I just want to highlight very quickly is when we pray as Muslims, there's a part in our opening prayer that it says, surely our prayer, our sacrifice, our life, and our death is all for Allah. Right? There is no such thing as retirement for the Muslim follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. There is no such thing as retirement, especially when one finds their purpose. So this may be the final speech on a grand level that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan makes to us, but by no means is he sick. By no means, had there been any reports or he's planning on, leaving this earth anytime soon. Our brother is a soldier, has been, and it will always be.
Always.
60+ years on his post, 40+ absent, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So the Swan Song, tune in noi.org, February 27th, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And hear the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad through his chief student in our midst, the crowning event of Black History Month. Happy Savior's Day, family.
Happy Savior's Day. Excellent, excellent. Praise be to Allah. And family, we also want to do something as well. We want to also thank everyone who has supported the STEM Files.
Absolutely.
To make sure that we are able to deliver as much content as possible to you and your family. We don't look at numbers. Trust me, we don't. We hate looking at numbers. But this part of our YouTube channel is important to us because of how much work and time we've put into this YouTube channel. So we have since the last 2 months, we are now over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And this is something that we are highlighting to thank you all for. The
Absolutely.
Support, the energy, the shares, the likes, the comments, the subscribers. You know, you all have made the STEM Files what it truly is, and that is a voice for STEM talent in Black culture. So, Jabril, anything you want to add regarding that?
Absolutely. With any new achievement you hit, at times, you know, something comes with that. So what we are working on as a platform is the STEM Files inspired paraphernalia and apparel. So soon, all those who are in our tribe, in our community, who have consumed our content and love and want continue to see us grow, you will be able to purchase and get for yourself things like t-shirts, hoodies, or what have you that have inspiring quotes and STEM-based quotes or STEM-based graphics, if you will, coming from the STEM File. So I need to see some Black fists in the comment section. If you know you gonna rock your STEM Files gear, I need to see some Black fists in the comment section.
And we
if
ain't ending this broadcast
you be rocking your STEM Files gear. Absolutely. But thank y'all so much for all the support, the continued support as we move forward. We're looking forward to doing bigger and better things and continue to be an authentic podcast to deliver good news and good information to the people.
Jabril, are we a little frozen?
No, I hear you. You good.
All right, can you do me a favor? Can you take all the stuff off the screen? Because I can't do none of mine.
I also just wanted to thank you, brothers, for having me. This is my first podcast ever. I'm getting used to public speaking with having a publishing company, so this was great practice for me. But I thank you for having me. I enjoy myself very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for coming on. And we appreciate the opportunity to be your first public appearance. Absolutely. You know, with everything, so that when your publishing company becomes huge, we can always say, "Oh, we was the first person to interview her." So
I know her.
Right.
I'll come back, and then we could view the difference, the growth, the evolution.
Oh,
you know?
sure. On both sides, yes, ma'am.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, we're gonna be in the metaverse.
Awesome. Well, family, this has been another edition of the STEM Files. We are the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. If you would like to tap into more of our content, you can visit both of our pages, Tariq Cartier and Jabril Engineer. And as you can tell from the beginning of the show, my brother finally introduced us as the original STEM gents. So us as a duo, Tariq Cartier and Jabril Engineer, we are the STEM gents, and or STEM gentlemen, if you want to get very,
picky out, very picky out. You want to get very picky out. Add Scott's on. You want to get there, then the STEM gentleman.
The STEM gentleman, right. So definitely follow us on all our platforms at the STEM Files on Instagram and Twitter, the STEM Files on Facebook and YouTube. And Jabril, you want to close this out?
Absolutely. Something coming very soon in regard to STEM Gen. So stay on the lookout, family. Again, we love y'all. Sister Danielle, Jabril Engineer, Tariq Cardiac, another installment of the STEM Files. Until next time, family, stay tapped in. We love you. We want to see all of us eat, and may Allah bless us all. Until next time, family, the STEM Files. Peace.
Oh, and family, by the way, the STEM Gens is protected, so don't be trying to cop us for our name.
Come on now.
Just saying.
Go ahead.
All
Go
right.
ahead. Talk to him.
All right. All right, family. Peace.